hope you are doing well. My name is Jacqueline Vino from Golosso Learning Solutions, and welcome to the Genuine Learning blog, your resource for timely and relevant updates from all of the different standard setters. During this blog, we are going to discuss a report/survey that was recently released by the AICPA and CPA.com on the topic of audit transformation. Now, while audit transformation has been very much a common phrase in the profession, there's been a limited shared understanding of what transformation actually looks like in practice, or what actual progress firms have been making in the recent years. So this report provides the perspective directly from the firms, which is much appreciated, on the current state of audit modernization. Now, there is a lot of interesting parts to this report. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. As you can see here, this report was issued on December 10th of last year, so fairly recently. And this report is coming directly from CPA.com and the AICPA. And it's trying to really create a snapshot of what typical audit firm transformation looks like, based on feedback from 54 different US firms of various sizes and also maturity levels. So they really tried to get a representative sample when they were completing this report and doing the survey. And what was the purpose of this project? Really, it's just trying to provide more support, trying to allow firms to have more informed conversations across the profession. And it also provides a template for organizing plans to change. And readers are also encouraged to share this report with both firm leaders and also forward-looking coworkers. Now, one of the main points and takeaways from this report is they really found 5 key themes for audit transformation, and they also included suggested next steps relating to each of these themes right here. Now, don't worry, we're going to walk through these 5 key themes on the next couple of slides, but just at a high level, what are these themes? The first one is that technology for audits is evolving rapidly, especially with the adoption of AI. Efficiency is a key driver for audit transformation is another one. Adoption of modern audit methodologies is beginning to accelerate. Metrics are evolving as well. And then last but certainly not least, improving the experience for clients and staff, trying to make it just a more enjoyable process overall. All right, so the first theme here definitely goes without saying, and it is the fact that audit technology is evolving. Now, firms that reply to this survey at every stage of their transformation, whether they're at the very beginning of their transformation journey or they're more towards the end, they did pretty much all say that the biggest shift in the past decade has been coming from technology, especially with moving to the cloud and adopting AI and a lot of these really cool, developments that have happened over the past couple of years. And these changes have really redefined how the audit work gets done. As one firm very nicely put it in one of their responses to the survey, the ability to work from anywhere has been one of the biggest changes in the past 10 years. These advances are not only about flexibility, though, they have also raised audit quality. So along with cloud adoption, firms report new gains from things like data analytics, digital workflows, stronger risk assessment practices. Survey respondents really did identify the many different ways that technology was being used across all of these different functionalities. All right, so aside from that, we also have the second theme here, which is all about efficiency and how efficiency is one of the key drivers of audit transformation. Now, efficiency is about things like creating capacity and eliminating repetitive tasks while still maintaining the audit quality, right? Quality still has to be the forefront, even though we're trying to do things as efficiently as possible. So what are some examples of strategies that could reduce time on audits? One is using technology, of course, to better enable traditional and also new audit procedures. Challenging prior year procedures in relation to risk assessment, right? We don't want to do the Sally approach, right? The same as last year. We want to be taking a fresh perspective when it comes to risk assessment every single year. Trying to upskill programs for staff to learn these new technologies and leveraging advanced data analytics as well. Hopefully all of these will help firms when it comes to improving their efficiency. Outside of technology and efficiency, what is another key theme that kept coming up in this report? This is all about the adoption of modern audit methodologies. The authors, in this report also recommended a shift from over-reliance on prior work papers, goes without saying, and taking that risk-driven approach to auditing. Now, I will say personally, This is something that I have seen working with various firms at Colossal Learning Solutions. A lot of our clients are currently going through this process right now. They're changing their third-party practice aids. They're trying to update their audit methodologies to keep up with the times and to better comply with the auditing standards and with the risk assessment requirements. So I would definitely say that not only was this a common theme in the survey, but this is also something that we are even starting to know working with different clients in different audit firms. So very exciting to see how we're trying to adopt and keep up with the times. Theme number 4 is that metrics are evolving, but not as fast as some of the other themes that we've already discussed, like technology and trying to prioritize the efficiency and effectiveness of the audit. Now, metrics that we all have experience with, such as billable hours and staff utilization, those are starting to become a little bit less relevant and a little bit more stale. Now, what is emerging in its place is more forward-looking metrics. So as opposed to worrying about the billable hours and things like that, we're going to be really focusing on deliverable-based accountability. Client readiness scoring is another really interesting one, and audit margin per engagement, as opposed to what was the actual billable hours that went into this engagement. So I think that this one is just a natural consequence of some of the other trends and themes that we've already discussed. And then last, but certainly not least, we have this last key theme here, which is improving client and staff experience. So next step with this includes formalizing the delivery of audit insights as a core deliverable for clients to increase that client experience, right? As opposed to just getting the audit report. This is also what we noticed and some improvements that we can recommend. Another one would be taking inventory of your actual team's skills and interests, right? Focusing on upscaling them, trying to help them with, pursuing certain interests that they have, and engaging your audit team in trying to evaluate some of the new technologies. Now, 2 other little metrics that we're going to cover before we wrap up this blog, some statistics here. What are some barriers to this transformation that the survey noticed? It actually revealed a lot of commonality among all of the responding firms. Things like the staff are not trained in some of these more advanced approaches or methodologies, or maybe there are budget constraints. Maybe there's issues with our current methodologies that we're using. And even though there were some commonalities, firms that are further along in their transformation process were more likely to say that access to client data is one of their biggest obstacles. In contrast, firms that are kind of early in the transformation process are more likely to say that their current methodology is what blocks real transformation. So I do think it's kind of interesting to point out some of these constraints as well, and you can kind of apply them to your own firm and where you are in your transformation process. And then another interesting statistic here is that, oddly enough, the majority of firms, about 75%, actually do not have any formal documentation for their audit transformation. And that, as the survey believes, and I also tend to agree with it, it does demonstrate a huge growth opportunity for firms. A formal plan is beneficial. It's going to help leaders align around their practice goals, ultimately saving time and resources. Without a documented plan, firms may make costly mistakes, maybe by choosing technology or hiring different talent that doesn't actually fit with their overall growth strategy. As auditors, what we always say is if it's not documented, it's not done. Looks like the same is going to apply here for this transformation strategy. If you are currently working towards transformation, probably going to be beneficial to document that so people can access it in the firm. And then one other area from this report is just trying to highlight the audit practice revenue growth statistics here. So I thought this was also kind of interesting. The median audit practice revenue growth for the 54 firms that responded was about 8%. And the vast majority of those firms, roughly 89% of all of the firms that responded, anticipate revenue growth in the next 3 years, driven by primarily price adjustments, right? Trying to raise prices to kind of keep up with inflation and how things are just more expensive now, and also targeted growth by different industries. So combining these strategies that you see on your screen right here, right? Growing through acquisition, maybe potentially, increasing fees, all of these different things. When we combine that with a formalized transformation plan that should be written down and documented, hopefully aptitude for changes would yield even greater growth, right? So let's try to kind of combine forces here and see what we can get. Alrighty. And that is all we have for today, folks. That is all about the audit transformation report, some of the key themes, what are some of those, obstacles and barriers that we have to overcome, and hopefully we all kind of have a clear picture of what other firms are doing in the profession as they approach audit transformation. I also wanted to do a very quick shout out for our upcoming audit staff level training cohorts. We have our 2026 schedule finalized for this year, which is something that we're very excited about. So if you are watching this blog and you are a manager, maybe you're a partner and you're looking to, get some training for your staff, we would highly recommend these cohorts. Each cohort is 16 credits of CPE, and they are super interactive, and we have a very great variety of auditing topics. So if you're interested in learning more about our cohorts, we included a QR code for you to very easily scan. And additionally, if you yourself are interested in taking additional CPE from Golosso Learning Solutions, we have another QR code for you here as well. We have lots of different courses in accounting, auditing, government, and nonprofit A&A if you need yellow book requirements, as well as professional development and audit staff training. So in addition to our live courses, we also have webinars and LC Vista courses that are on demand. And once again, my name is Jacqueline Vino from Golosso Learning Solutions. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.